I'm here today to give you some exercises for hip strength, glute strength, core stability. The purpose and importance of those muscle groups is to keep the pelvis in place as we move around in space. If we have a pelvis that's kind of rocking around all over the place, not supported by those glute muscles and muscles of the hip, we're going to end up with a lot of low back things and knee stuff and just all sorts of craziness. So to get our pelvis so that it is nice and stable, that it can actually move correctly with our legs, and then we're not going to put a bunch of tension on that low back area. So that's kind of the purpose behind the exercises I'm giving to you today. All right, so we'll get started. It's called the Sideline Leg Series. It's a series of mat exercises. We're going to come down to laying on our side. So we're going to find ourselves laying down. Let your head rest on a bent elbow. And then that top arm is going to come down as your kickstand. Those legs are going to come out toward an angle, toward kind of that opposite side of your mat. We want to make sure the hips stay stacked. So top hand, we're going to take it down just in front of the chest here for a kickstand. So we have shoulders are lined up and stacked, hips are lined up and stacked. All right, from here, we want to think about this side body. We have that nice hourglass shape. We don't want to compromise that by letting the ribs sink down into that mat. We want to keep space, stay open, and have that neutral spine is really what it is. Okay, so from here, once we get that neutral spine, so we have that nice, just natural curve, maybe a little bit of space under those lower ribs, we'll take that top leg up about 6 inches from the bottom, flat foot, kick forward, point the toe, bring it back. Here we're hinging at the hip, pull back with the glute. Hinge at the hip, pull back with the glute. Here you should be feeling, there's a group of muscles called transverse abdominals. They wrap around the front of the torso and back into your spine. So we want those to be working here. They should feel nice and tight and secure. That keeps our pelvis from moving. You're welcome to use manual feedback and put your hand on your pelvis. Make sure it's not tipping forward or back. And have you do 2 more. So I want you to do 8 reps. And then take a break, lower that leg down. Good job, pat massage. I have to admit, I really didn't count that. So make sure you do your 8 count. All right, here we go. We're gonna take that top leg back up about 6 inches. Point the toe, small circles about the size of an apple. Again, we're moving at the hip joint here. So small controlled is better than big and unfocused. We don't want that momentum, it's not a muscle. 2, 1, flex the foot, reverse direction. We got 8. Still nice and tight. 4, 2, and lower the leg down. Woo! You should already be feeling this, okay? If we're doing it right, slow, controlled, small movements, those glutes and the hips are going to be talking to you. All right, so next we're going to take that leg back up to 6 inches, and then we're going to take a look, make sure we are at 6 inches, and then we're going to lift the leg another 6 inches, lower it back 6 inches. Here, we're focusing on that crease happening at the hip, not at the waist. A lot of times I'll see people go really big, and then look how that just shrunk my waistline, right? So we want to keep that nice long neutral spine, lift and lower. I promise this is oh so heavy. 2, 1, and lower down. Nicely done. Take a quick little breather. Good job, pat massage. All right, up next, we're gonna do an internal rotation to external rotation. The challenge with this is a lot of times I'll see the pelvis want to tip in order to get movement or range of motion out of that leg. We don't want to compromise range of motion with hip movement, okay, or pelvic movement. So we're coming back up to that 6 inches. We'll internally rotate or think spiraling that femur so that the toe kind of comes forward in front of that bottom foot. Then we're going to spiral the femur back so that the heel is more toward the heel of the bottom foot. We internally rotate, tap the toe, externally rotate the heel. This is where I see a lot of times people will lean back in order to compensate and get a bigger range of motion. We don't want that. We want this to be all about that femur moving through the hip joint here. Inhale, exhale. We're gonna go for 2 more. So 8 count for all of these. Very good. And then lower down. Good job, pat massage. Nicely done. Okay, up next, we're gonna do a leg press. So it's kind of like a single leg squat, but we're laying down on the floor, so we have the support of the floor to give us that nice neutral spine. All right, so we lift our leg back up to hip distance. We're gonna bend the knee to tabletop. So we're 90 at the hip, 90 at the knee. That's just like going and sitting in a chair. We press out to straight. Bend and press. Take a look. Make sure you're not letting the knee sink down. That's kind of exaggerated. We want to keep hip distance and press. Bend, press. Also, when we're bending, it's a hip hinge, knee bend, not a hip hike. All right? So we're maintaining that neutral spine. 2 more. Very good. And then lower the leg down. Good job, pat massage. Nicely done. Okay, we're gonna come up to sitting. Actually, let's roll over onto our back. Stretch that side out, because that just feels good. All right, so we're gonna stretch this out. Deep breaths. Just nice and relaxed here. All right, then we can do a roll up to come up to sitting. So roll yourself up. Nicely done. Turn ourselves around. I'll have another video at another time for roll-ups. Okay, so same setup. Legs toward the angle, toward the front of the mat there. Back lines up along the back side of the mat. We lay on that bent elbow. Top arm is down, so those shoulders are stacked and lined up. Top hip is right over the bottom hip. And those legs are stacked, eyes looking forward. Inhale, lift that top leg up, 6 inches, and then take a peek. Did you find that 6 inches? Great job if you did. If not, bring it to 6 inches. Okay, here we go. We're gonna kick forward, flat foot, point the toe, slide back. Same thing here. Your range of motion might be smaller. For me, it is smaller. I need a smaller range of motion to move this side and keep pelvis stable and abs engaged, keeping that neutral long spine here. Inhale, exhale. Don't forget to breathe. 8 count again. And we're gonna do 1 more. Very good. And lower down. Once you learn these exercises, you don't necessarily have to. You can do these wherever and whenever you want to, all right? They're pretty easy to remember. Next, we'll come back up to that 6 inches. We're gonna point the toe, small circles toward the front. Again, we're moving at the hip. Pelvis is stable. Abs are engaged. 3, 2, 1. Flex the foot, reverse for 8. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower the leg. Good job, pat massage. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna go to that internal and external rotation. Remember, sides are gonna probably feel different. We're not perfectly symmetric, so it's okay if it feels different. If it's a lesser range of motion, that's fine too. We just don't want to compensate to get bigger range of motion by moving around at the torso, okay? So we take that top leg up, hip distance, take a peek, make sure you're at that 6 inches, point the toe, spiral that femur forward, tap the floor, spiral back, and more toward the heel. Notice how I can't even touch or get very close to that bottom heel. It's okay, all right? That's just the range of motion for this side for me, all right? Doesn't mean we have to stop working on it. It just means that's where I'm at, right? So we internally spiral, externally spiral out. Pay attention, make sure the hip isn't rocking. You can even put your hand and feel that femur moving through the hip joint. Last one. Very good. Lower down. Good job. Pat massage. Take a break. Okay. Oh, almost forgot that leg lift. So we're going to go back to that. So we're going to take the top leg, lift it up about 6 inches. Flat foot. Lift up 6 inches. Lower 6 inches. Again, we're keeping that nice neutral spine. We're not doing a hip hike in order to lift the leg. Your movement is only as big as what is allowed without compensating anywhere else. That leg should be heavy. 2, 1, and lower down. Woo-wee. Okay, last exercise is that single leg press. So it's kind of like we're going to chair and then coming up to standing. Same movement of that process of sitting and standing, okay? So we'll take the leg back up, flat foot, check, make sure your hip distance, bend the knee to tabletop, make sure your knee's not falling down. We keep that hip distance, press the leg to straight. From there, make sure we're not sinking the hip into the waist, right? We want to keep that nice neutral spine. Bend and press. You got this. We got 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower it down. Good job. All right, we'll roll over onto our back. Stretch out this side. Oh. Doesn't matter what order you do these exercises in. Just making sure you do the same rep count, so just make it easy, make it 8 reps. If you need to take a break during that 8 rep, maybe you're doing 4, take a break, do another 4. Quality movement is the most important thing. We lift our hands, straighten our legs, inhale, exhale, roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. And then reach forward toward those toes, take a stretch, sit up tall, roll the shoulders down and back. Again, if you weren't entirely successful in that roll up, that's okay. Just keep working on it. I'll try to do another video at a later time that we work on our roll up and roll down. Okay, so that was our Sideline Leg Series from the mat work, mat Pilates work. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Feel free to share. This is a great set of exercises for anybody. All right, have a great day.